In this video, I'm going to show you how I closed a $6,000 AI deal. And yes, I am actually giving you the template on how I did the sales call in the description. Now, most of us are excellent developers, but we're actually losing deals before we even open our mouths. Why? Well, we don't know how to pitch. You're selling features, not outcomes. You're selling tech instead of transformation. But last week, I closed a $6,000 AI voice infrastructure, and I did it using a pitch deck that's been sharpened by dozens of rejections. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my pitch deck slide by slide. I'm going to show you why it works, how to apply the strategies to your AI offer, and how to position your pitch in a way that actually closes high-ticket deals like this. And yeah, the download link is in the description for you to check out, so let's dive in. Okay, so before we actually get into the pitch deck itself, it's important to understand the structure of the call. So here's the entire customer cycle. So first of all, they contact you either through, for me, it's YouTube, right? People book a call, or maybe they respond to an email you sent them. And then the first thing you want to do is book a discovery call. Because what I do is I do a two-call close. I first of all have a call where I just try to understand what they are looking for, see if we can build it. And in the second call, we go for the close. We present the price. Now, what do you do on that first call? The first call is all about getting to know them and gathering little bits of information that you can use as weapons in your second call. Now, the things you should look out for in the first call are, first of all, the pain points. What do they actually want to solve? Get really clear on that, because that's what you're going to be presenting next. Second, why is this something they want to solve? You should go deep. You should go really, really deep and see how much money are they losing, right? How much time are they wasting? How much maybe data aren't they getting, right? Because that was actually for the company that I worked with, there was a big data gap that my AI was able to bridge. And also one thing that's really important and that actually gets overlooked very, very often is the psychological drag. What effects does it have on the humans if they have to answer, for example, the same calls 100 times a day, right? Or if they get asked the same question 50 times a day. And this is something that can't be overlooked, because at the end of the day, people will pay a lot of money to feel better, to help you make them relieve some stress. That's something very valuable. So you have to understand what's actually causing stress and what psychological effect these problems have. And then once you've got all that information, you schedule, this is very important, on that first call, you schedule the second call. You don't just say, see you soon, let's work the time out. No. On the call, you say, okay, next week, this time we're going to meet again, have everybody who needs to make a decision on the call. I can't tell you how important this is, because the amount of times I've gotten to a call and I've presented everything and they said, this looks good, I'm going to think about it, and I'm just going to talk to my business partner. And I'm like, shit. So you have to have every single person that needs to hear this on the call, ideally on the first call already, but definitely on the second call. Okay, so schedule the second call and make sure everybody is there that needs to hear it. And I as a rule, I do not start the second call unless both people are there. If only one person is there, I end it, honestly, because it's not worth your while. They're gonna, at the end of the time, at the end of the call, they're always gonna say, I'm gonna talk to my partner. So it's not even worth starting. Okay, once you've done that, you've scheduled your second call. In the meantime, you build a little presentation. You build a Miro board, for example. And I just use Miro because it's really easy, but all you want to do is build a little flowchart. Doesn't need to be as complex as this, but build a little flowchart for the customer to understand what you are trying to build for them. Now, you don't need to go into every techie detail, but just explain what the AI does and how it works and what it integrates with, maybe just a little overview, something to show that you've put some thought into it. Okay, so you've had your first call, you've made notes on what they actually want to solve, you know how much this is costing them, how much time they're losing, what the psychological effects are of not having that problem solved, and any other little things that you can mention in your actual demo presentation to help them make a decision. Now, what you've also done is you've prepared the flowchart to show them, and now you're sitting on the call and you're happy and ready to go. Okay, so when you download the pitch deck, you're going to see something like this without these two logos. And these two circled are placeholders. All you have to do is take your logo, drag it in here, and take your company's logo and drag it into there. Now, a quick bit of context. The company I built this for is a waste management company in California. And I'm not going to go into the details of the solution that I built. That's for another video coming up. But basically, they had problems with their on-site managers and the staff because they weren't sure what they were doing. They didn't know how much waste they were actually removing because often a lot of it is guesswork and you'd forget by the next day. And yeah, they just needed someone to check in with their staff and make sure that they are in line doing what they need and that they can gather some information to improve the company. Okay, so when you start, you can of course customize all the colors on this as you like. And you'll notice that this is on Canva, by the way. It doesn't need to be crazy. You can just build something super basic. It doesn't need to look super professional, but the content is really important and also what you say. So the very first slide is you recapping the pain points. And the pain points, that's what you collected in the first call. You have to ideally have as little text as possible on here because you want this to be a conversation, right? You don't just want to be reading a script and then checking, are they liking what I'm saying, right? Just have a conversation. And use this pitch deck not as a script, but use it as a tool to explain what you're saying. Now, in my case, as I already explained, they were losing a ton of time following up with staff, which was inconsistent with checking in and checking out on time. And also the communication on site was bad. Plus, they didn't even know how much waste they were actually removing. Because as I said, you have to estimate it on the spot and you'd forget by the time you're home. So those were the main pain points that they were willing to pay a lot of money to solve. Now, once you've written this down, once you've presented this, go as deep into it as possible. Ask questions like, how much time do you spend with this again? I remembered it was like 5 hours a day. And also, this is quite stressful, isn't it? Right. So really dig into it. Be a dentist that pushes on the tooth that hurts. And you can go as much as you want with this, honestly. I don't think there's a limit to how much pain you should cause. Just cause as much pain as possible on this slide, because the more pain, the more they're willing to pay to remove that pain. Okay, so at the end of this, really important to ask questions like, is this all? Have I understood this correctly? Because maybe they say, oh, actually, it also does this. That's fantastic, right? One more reason to buy. So just have a little check-in questions at the end of each slide. Ask if that all makes sense and if you've understood them correctly. Now, next, before we actually go to the second slide, this is where you would present the flowchart. And then you'd say, okay, look, I think I've understood your problem pretty good. This is my solution. And then you walk them through. It doesn't need to be as complex as this, but you walk them through the flow of what the AI will do so that they can understand what you will build for them. And it makes it seem more like a product than just this AI floating around magically doing its stuff. And yeah, it's just a little way to show them that you've already put some thought into it, that you've put some value in upfront. Once you've done that, really, really, really important to ask before you go to the next slide, do you think that this solves your problem? And if they say no, then you should stop it right there and go back to the drawing board. But if they say yes, you've already made half the sale. Okay, so say they say, yep, that solves your problem, then you go, fantastic. Let me show you what your life will look like after implementing this. First of all, basically all this is you take this and you flip it on its head. And what you do is you basically, you flip it on its head and you say, look, with this, in this case, for example, you will get all the data you need. And with data, it kind of sounds boring, so go deeper. You can say something like, and you can put this in newspapers, and then people will see what you're doing and you're going to get more sales because people know how much waste you're removing and how good you are. Which also leads to the third thing, which was a big pain point mentioned in the first call, recognition. They were doing all this work and couldn't even tell people we removed 50 tons this month. Second thing is staff, which means you have accurate, consistent staff and better service, and you actually save time, which sounds good in its own, but go deeper. Tell them you save time, which allows you to pursue your vision of, in this case, it was a zero waste society, or just to take a short breath. Okay, so really paint a picture. It doesn't matter. They don't care if you do this with AI, with code, with, I don't know, just something. You can do it with duct tape as far as they're concerned, right? It does not matter. As long as you solve their problem, they want to know what their life will look like and how much stress and how good their life will look like once implementing the solution. Once you've done that, you go back into the pain slides. So you can kind of see you go into pain, solution, pain. It's a bit of an up and down here. And this is really important because you have to estimate how much money they're losing to justify your price afterwards. And in this case, we worked out if they were to do this manually, they would end up saving they would have to pay someone minimum $2,800 a month to do this without AI. Quick note, by the way, if you want to generate these little icons, head to Recraft AI, and then you click on, you just sign up. You can use a 10-minute email to sign up. Click on image, and then you select the icon, and then go to gradient outline, and then you type it in here, and that'll give you these nice images to put in your pitch deck. Just as a side note. Okay, so you've just explained how much money this would cost to solve without AI. Ask them, does this make sense? And make sure to be really conservative here. In this case, they were probably actually going to have to pay someone like at least double, but I just did a super conservative estimate to be on the good side. And once they've done this, you're going to say, okay, good. Now we know how much this will cost you. Are you ready for the final price? Can I tell you? So ask for just a little trick. Ask them if it's okay to share the final price. And then you go into the actual price, and you're going to say, look, I know this is a lot of numbers, but bear with me. And in here, it is a lot of numbers. So what you're going to do is this. There's two parts to this. So first of all, we have what it actually costs. And on the right side, we're going to show them why this is worth what it's worth. So up here, once again, we have the price to beat. And then down here, we have a breakdown of the costs. So in this case, there's two parts to this. This is just the way I like to structure my deals. We have a one-time setup fee of $6,000 for setting up these things. And then, by the way, always say investment, a once-time investment. Don't say one-time fee or price, because it sounds like they're in trouble, right? And the second part is what they have to pay to the AI, not to me, but to the AI to keep it running. And for this, because the voice providers always charge based on how much call volume you have, how many minutes the AI needs to talk, you need to actually have a rough estimate of how much time they will actually need. And in this case, this is actually way more than the company ended up needing. They actually only needed like $300 a month, but I wanted to give them a good, solid, very conservative estimate to make sure that it doesn't go over this price. And that way you can present it with confidence as well. So you first of all present this, and then you go into this. And this is basically, the way it's structured is you say, let me show you how much money you will actually make by using this for only 1 year. So we have month 0 to 12. Then we have what they would have to pay without AI, which is, $2,800 every single month to pay a human to fix this. If they're going to do it with AI, month 0, they pay the setup fee. And from month 1, they only pay $700 max. Ended up being $300, but top $700. And then on the right, you work out the difference. And then you add the difference up. Because at the end of the year, paying for the AI was actually almost $22,000 cheaper than paying for a human. And this is what I always say. I say, look, this is my favorite part. You get to have more data, your staff does what they need to do, and you actually save time, and you actually do all of that, and you actually get paid $22,000 for having all of those things. That's how great AI is. And it really is. It's not just a trick. It actually is this way. Which, if you're not using AI, after seeing this video, then I don't know where you live. You've got to get onto this. It's fantastic. It's changed my life. And then what I do is I show them a second slide with a more realistic estimate. It ended up being actually even less than this per month. But just to show them, this is the worst case scenario. This is more like the normal scenario, which ended up saving $26,000 a month. And after presenting this, just ask them something like, can you understand the value that we're providing here? Does this make sense? And you'd be pretty dumb to say no after seeing these numbers. Afterwards, just don't be afraid. Just ask them, okay, are we ready to move forward? And smile into the camera. Just smile. And most of the time, they're going to have some questions. You might think that they're pushing back. Objections usually are just questions. They just need a bit more information, more reassurance that this is going to work. And once you've answered those questions, objection handling is another thing in itself. But once you've done that, you go, fantastic. This is what's going to happen next. contract, payment, set up the accounts, we're going to do the development, then we hand it over to you, and then we're also including a 2-week checkup so that after releasing this for the first 2 weeks, we will monitor this for free to make sure it's actually up and running the way we think. Okay, so that is the outline of the pitch deck. You can download this in the description, and yeah, you're definitely going to have to customize this based on your client. I change this every single time, but I think you can understand the psychology behind it now, right? It's not about selling the tech or the solution, it's about selling the outcome and really making them understand. If you can show them something like in the table that they're actually saving money and making money while also having better customer service and more data and more time, it's going to be really hard for them to say no, right? And they have to like you, they have to trust you. That's just a prerequisite. This is probably the best pitch deck I've made ever. I've had a lot of other ones, and they haven't worked as well as this one. So feel free to download it in the description. It's the first link, and play around with it. I'm sure that after watching this, you will close a lot more deals. And once again, if you are a business and you're looking to implement AI strategies like this, you can book a free AI consultation call using the first link, and we can have a chat about how we can use AI systems like these to improve your business. I really look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you in the next one.